Okay, we are being live streamed, so we're good. Um, so what we're going to talk about today is L2 data. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with L2 data or have gotten into the L2 data. Um, it is, it can be very, very precise. There's a lot you can narrow this down to. You can leave it wide open if you want. You can, we'll go over some of the different ways that you can limit down the data to what exactly you're looking for, depending on what you're running as or where you're running or stuff like that. Um, I will say, messing with this a little bit, the data from some of the people I've talked to about it have been very accurate. Some of it has been a little inaccurate as far as not so much as how much they voted, because you are able to limit it down to how much they voted in the last couple of cycles, how many cycles in a row they've voted in. So a lot of that is very accurate. Some of the more inaccurate things is you're able to limit it down to a possible gun owner. It said that I own no guns, which I prefer. I'm very happy it said that, but I do. So, I mean, I don't YouTube live, but you can, I mean, the voting stuff is very accurate. Some of the where they're trying to, I mean, more or less guess what you have, what your interests are, stuff like that is, it can be a little inaccurate. But for the most part, it looks like the voting stuff that I've looked into has been very accurate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. And then we will jump right into this. All right, is everybody seeing my screen?
Yes.
Are y'all seeing Texas?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so this is the state of Texas. All of the reds and blues are what you are what you're able they have for voter stuff. So as far as voting history, stuff like that, we're going to, what I'm going to get into now is I'm just going to do my county because my county is the one that I've been playing with. So we're going to go to area selections, and then you can go to county. And this is going to give it to you in alphabetical order. I am the next to last page. So we got Waller County. Here is the voter registration. If you look, you can tell in mine, now this isn't going to be Harris County. We are a more rural area. So it don't have a lot of registered voters. It's just, this is our population. You have up in this area up here is, or this area is Prairie View. There, and then you've got Brookshire down here, and you got Hempstead up here. So that's going to be your major city areas. So from here, I'm going to knock this down. You can go into zip codes if you're looking, say you're running for a specific area and you'd like to narrow it down to that area, maybe a mayor or you can, I don't know, districts, municipalities. So you can knock it down to cities, town districts, anything like that. So you can get it down if you're running for a city council member or a mayor or a sheriff. I guess this would be sheriff because this is the county. So depending on what you're running on, you can limit it down a lot to just a specific area. I'm going to come down into here. This is my neighborhood right here, I think. Yes. So this is my neighborhood. This is one of the only non-farmland parts. So as you can see, break it down into go with this person here. $53.50, and then somebody who
You're a
just
Democrat.
turned. What's that?
I said you're a Democrat.
Oh yeah, it does show me it's being a Democrat. As far as the Democrat Republican thing go, I've noticed a lot of people who try to stay under the radar come up with a lot of the no kids, the no guns, the no this and that. When you come to the libertarians, as far as voting, the libertarians that I've looked up, half of them come up as Republicans, half of them come up as Democrats, and neither one of them have voted for, we're kind of this focuses out more the Republicans and the Democrats. So we kind of become an anomaly and just show up, I guess, at their best guess because we don't vote in the primaries.
So you're saying that when we register at our precinct conventions, those do not get translated into the L2 data?
Correct. Yep.
John could probably answer this more than I do, but I don't think that we turn over.
I'm on state credentials committee, and yes, the answer to that.
Affiliate, it doesn't go to the state at all. The county chairs keep those items.
The only way, can y'all hear me first of all?
Yeah, you're good, John.
Okay, the only way that data goes anywhere to the state is if we are having trouble or in danger of losing ballot access. Anyone who attends a convention can be submitted as a petition signature automatically for having attended. And that is the only way that it goes there. And we haven't had ballot access trouble in a good while. So practically no, none of that data goes to the state.
Well, then how is it that when Republicans have knocked our candidates off the ballot because they were dumb enough to go to they have voted in a Republican primary, they were able to do that kind of cross-reference?
They knew they voted in a Republican primary because that's the data does go to the state, and they knew they were our candidate because when you register to be a candidate, that data goes to the state. So they could put, A and B together and get that, but they wouldn't. Actually, we're the only ones who police who shows up to the convention. And it was actually wrongly argued on the Senate floor this last time when they were trying to take our ballot access that nobody's monitoring this and anyone can vote in a primary and go to a convention. We monitor it, so that's why it was incorrect, but they don't know. They have no clue. It doesn't go to the state. They don't even know what goes on in them. It's a mystery to them. We always have to explain to them how it works.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Can I ask what the purple ones are?
Which one? Oh yeah, what is the
The
purple?
ones that are purple, because I mean, obviously red, blue makes sense, but there are a couple of purple ones.
And what about
I guess a
gray,
purple
what about the
household
gray
means there's
ones
a
also?
Democrat and a Republican in the household.
Yeah,
And what
Go
about the gray ones?
What's that? The gray ones? The
the
gray
gray
ones
ones.
show up as nonpartisan.
Nonpartisan, okay. And then
Yeah,
where
so
there's
here
nobody.
we've got 3 nonpartisan people.
Gotcha.
More than likely, they're just nonpartisan because they didn't vote in the primaries. But this is me here, this little blue dot over here, and I'm listed as a Democrat, and my wife is also listed as a Democrat. It's also got me as 38. I'm not 38 till tomorrow. Thank you.
Well, happy birthday.
So like I said, when it comes to this stuff with the party, when it comes to libertarians, it kind of just takes this best guess. I don't know how they guessed me to be Democrat because I've never once voted Democrat, but it's fine. Going back to some of the customs, so you can go to voting history. You can do primary ballots, how they would have voted in each of the primaries. So say 22, Democrat did not vote, other Republican. See what other pops up with. 0. Okay, I guess
Well, that's because we don't have primaries.
There you go. Yeah. So Republican did not vote. 30,000 registered voters over here didn't vote in the primaries. 22 would have been the primaries for, I don't know what the primaries have been for. Well, I guess in 22 you would have had governor and stuff like that. So you can do primary. You can do voter history, where you can pick certain elections. Say you wanted people who have voted in 4 or more of the following elections. And you can do general elections and you can pick the years. Get rid of this before it starts doing something. Primary elections. So you can pick which years you want to look at if they did it. I like myself better the voting frequency. So you want somebody who has voted in the last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cycles. Somebody who is continuously voting in the district. So here are your spots of the people who are always voting. These are the people who vote more. So you can count on them. They're more than likely going to be there when it comes time to vote.
Well, one thing I looked into when I was campaigning for Congress in 2020 and putting door hangers on people's doors, I always concentrated on the newer tract neighborhoods, because those people were all new and they had no knowledge of who the incumbents and all the existing politicians were in the area. So it's kind of like an open slate for them. They didn't know anybody. So it might be better to go after the new or people just moved to the area, perhaps.
Different strategies for different groups.
Yeah,
it all depends. That's actually a very good strategy, pulling the new people or people who are registered who haven't voted in, voting frequency was okay. So unknown. Yeah, 1, 2, especially if you see somebody who's lived in a house for a long time and have only voted once or twice. That's somebody who is registered to vote, but isn't finding somebody they want to vote for. And you can do that by, like I said, let's find. I mean, you can I don't really want to put up a whole bunch of this info on YouTube. I mean, I guess it's something anybody could find, but you can go in and you can see how long somebody lived there. See if I can scroll down so it doesn't show. So they've lived there, vote frequency 0, but they registered in 2016, 0, 2019, 1, 2019. So they've lived here for a while, but they haven't voted. That would be a good person's door to go knock on, because they just might not find anybody that they like. They don't like anybody who's running, so it's not worth their time.
Now, can you organize these into precincts and then look to see how they voted for candidates, or even just one candidate or one set of candidates?
well, I know in Travis County, that's available from the county clerk or the elections office, how each precinct voted in the election. I could see, for example, how libertarians did in each precinct, for example. So I'm not sure if every county does that, but Travis does that.
Well, I can tell you
Dallas
that
has been doing that too. However, what I'd like to look at is, well, I'll give an example. A few elections ago, our candidate for state Senate, no, for the state Supreme Court, got more votes than the Republican did, and it's a blue precinct and it's next to mine. That tells me that there are Democrats who are willing to vote for libertarians. And that's what I wanted to be able to break down more, to see if I can get any keys on.
Voting records in the state of Texas do not have that type of data. The best you can get is who voted in what election. You won't be able to know who they voted for, what they voted for. You'll just know, did they vote, and if they voted in a primary. But if they
Well,
voted,
what I wanted to know is of the people that did vote. Well, for example,
you
let's
won't be able
say
to know who they voted
thi-
for.
this map represents that precinct, and that shows, and it would show every house that voted in that precinct. And it would tell me that there are X number of households. But Y number of households voted for the Libertarian. That's what I want to know. I want to know who voted.
Yeah, you won't
And
know that.
I don't think we need to, I don't think we can find that out. The only way we can
Yeah,
really
it's-
identify libertarians is if we had registration by party, like in
No,
other states where you register as
I'm not being
libertarian or
clear.
register.
I am not being clear. I apologize. I'm assuming that the precinct is mostly Democratic because of the way it has voted. However, if our Libertarian candidate, because there was no Democrat running, got more votes than the Republican did, then I want to know all the households in that precinct. I know I won't know which household voted Libertarian, but if I get but the fact that some Democratic household did, that to me is like a psychological breakthrough.
So
It shows that they are willing to vote for a Libertarian under some conditions.
So if I can jump in, I think the best answer to your question is you'd have to cross-reference two data sets. One, you'd get the precinct voting information and find that precinct you're trying to target where the Libertarian received an outstanding number of votes. You'd come here, you'd filter for that precinct, and it would show you every registered voter in that precinct. And you could purchase that data and cross-reference those houses. And then you would have a general list of all the voters in that area who gave that outcome, if that makes sense.
Okay, so this L2 would not give us voting totals for a particular race?
I don't know that they have it or not, but honestly, I haven't tried to look in L2 for it because that data is so easily available on the election websites for the counties and the state. I can go grab that for free anyway. I don't, so it may have it. I just haven't even looked because I can get that data so easily elsewhere.
Okay, all righty, thank you.
So for your districts, you can look up House districts, Senate districts, things like that, library districts. So you would be able to narrow it down some by that way. Like Waller County is part 17, part 18 in Senate districts. So I would be able to go down to miscellaneous districts. Senate, well, they hadn't updated to the new one, but I could go in and find 18. Give it a second here.
You've got another filter on there that's preventing them.
The only thing that I have on here is my congressional, or is the county.
Is it State House 18 or Congressional District 18?
This is State House 18. Which wouldn't be, hold on, I'm looking not at House, State Senate District. That was my issue. And then we go to 18. This would also help, say for like me in SD 17, Colorado, and I have one other county in my district that's unaffiliated. I can't think of what it is, but Colorado, I would be able to go in and say, here's most of my district was 18 before. I'm still showing almost all my district. But say I wanted to affiliate somewhere like Colorado, and I wanted to get them in, what it would allow me to do is find the voters in that area that might have voted, you know, in the generals, but not or skipped elections. And it would give me somewhere I could start to maybe start trying to talk to people to bring people in about maybe affiliating their county party as well. Some of the cooler things, like I was saying, once you get into some of this stuff, I'm gonna leave it at my county. But what I can do is hobbies, interests. I like this. So you can go gun owner. You can look to see if they're a gun owner, a concealed weapons permit. Yes. And there's all the concealed weapons permits in my area. I'm not going to start clicking on these people, not with us being on YouTube, but you can do that. You can do gun owners.
Where are they getting this other data, like coin collectors and you know, this kind of stuff? That's pretty specific.
Yeah, it is very specific. I'm not exactly sure. My county has 1,677 coin collectors. I'm not exactly, I know for some of this stuff, like I saw some of these when I was playing with it, auto workers, but there were some where they were getting certain magazines in their household.
Yeah, I can answer the question of where they're getting the information. So we pay for, as part of this deal that we're passing down to the counties, an extra service called Haystack. So where the main interest or bulk of this data for us is the election data that they're getting from the various, you know, counties and everything, and uploading and organizing it. They're just generally a data company, and they also deal with data they sell to advertisers who put ads on your Facebook or whatever. What they have done for us with Haystack is they've taken that election data and overlaid the advertisement data onto it to give us this information about people based on their online activities.
Well, I think coin collectors might be somebody that we may want to propagandize, because they understand the importance of town money.
That's right. Silver and gold coins. Yeah.
So here's an interesting question. You could basically target, like, not, I don't like using the word target, but you could find these hobbies and then, as someone in the county, go out to events that these types of people are holding to then maybe draw them in?
Absolutely. You could, it would be interesting to go through and play with these hobbies and see something that you have a lot of people interested in. I wouldn't say coin collecting is probably going to be one of your hottest ones, but maybe, let's see. Interest in fishing in the neighborhood. That's 3,000 people. But maybe trying to find something that looks like it would have, being in the middle of Houston, right outside of Houston, I'm not assuming boating is going to be huge. Gun is really going to be the big one, but a gun owner, apparently only 2,400 people own guns in my county.
But there's other things.
Like I said, this one's going to be a little bit harder because a lot of people don't like people knowing they have their guns. I'm trying to see if there's one here that would be.
Well, Facebook advertising had a lot of this also. Facebook advertising, because you could like select where your ads would go to, and they had like different kinds of people that were interested in politics, particularly in current affairs, is big. If they're interested in that, they more likely would look at a political ad. And like small business owners, that's a good one. And there's a handful of ones that would seem like they would be like at least more interested in our message than others would.
There's also a filter for contributions. So people who donate to different charities and organizations would be a good, because they're already giving their money away.
Oh, yeah.
Another good use of some of this haystack data. So I think there's actually two approaches you can use when trying to zoom in. One is a wide net approach where you're trying to find a congressional district. This is a lot like what we did with Mike's campaign for city council last time, as we targeted people who were in the area who had voted in the municipal races in the past to give us a good canvassing area. But the other thing, and I've seen TED Talks on this, if you know someone in your county who is a libertarian, who maybe would be a really good donor for your county, if you could get them, but isn't currently engaged with your county, you can do a reverse lookup. If you know the person and you go find the person, then you find out what filters apply to them, and you may be able to find out that they're a coin collector who likes to play golf. That finding out that information about the individual may also help you target them. Call them up, say, hey, got this cool thing going on in Waller County I want to talk to you about. I was thinking we can meet up on a golf range, hit some balls around and talk about it. You already have an in where you know some things about them that will help you hold that conversation. Now, I've even seen with really big multi-million-dollar accounts where they have run entire advertisement campaigns, very specifically narrowing down the search criteria, the filters, hoping to hit one person, and sometimes been successful at that. So these things can be used in reverse as well.
Let's see, contributions. I was looking, veterans causes, donate to veterans causes. That would be a good one for us, considering we have a very big anti-war stance. And if they're donating to veterans, more likely they're donating to veterans who have, places like Wounded Warrior or places like the Gary Sinise Foundation, where they're trying to help veterans as they come back from war and trying to get them the help that they need once we get back here. We do have a lot of mental health issues with veterans coming back from the war zones. We have a problem with homelessness coming back from the war zones. So these people who are veterans, it's something we can target and talk to them specifically about veterans, because if they're donating, they have, respect for the veterans. And what better respect can we pay to the veterans than not sending them into these war zones where they're coming back with all of these issues? So that would be a really good one that you could look to. You've got federal political contributor, you've got state political contributor. So there's a lot of them here that the charities where we overlap with those people. I mean, the political one is a good one because those people are willing to give to politicians, and our politicians aren't nearly as terrible as the other parties' politicians. Like we have really good politicians. We have people who are doing it to make people free. They have people who are running because they want to fight every war across the world. I mean, look at Dan Crenshaw. Dan Crenshaw hadn't found one he wants to not fight. So our politicians on some of this have really touched on some of these things where we can overlap with some of these others. So maybe you want to look at somebody who donates both to veteran causes and to, state political causes. Those are people willing to give to politicians and care about our veterans. That's a very good one to hit because those people overlap. They might be willing to get involved or at least donate to our candidates when we have our candidates up. You can go with some of this. There's like individual demographics. You can pull up gender, marital status, age, ethnicity, what likely religion they are. So you could use, like, if you're going to say you're a politician or you're running for office and you want to talk to the person at the household, usually the things that Democrats focus on and Republicans focus on, they're going to be usually two different things. Even when you get to age is going to be different things that matter to those people. When you get to gender, a lot of the topics that are going for a lot of men are going to find it important. A lot of females aren't going to find that important. You're going to have the same thing the other way around, where the female, you know, they're just not going to have, their biggest issues aren't going to be the same. So you can narrow down, you know, if you're going to, what to expect once you get to that household. You can see that there's a man and a woman in that household. So you'll be able to plan for that. Or there's just a woman in that household. So you might be able to plan for that, things like that as well. I've kind of gone over everything. I mean, I can start splitting this down and pulling up people, but like I said, I'm trying not to pull up too many specific people just because it is being broadcast on YouTube. And I don't want to start, you know, putting people's information out there. I mean, it is something you could do with this data, but I'm not going to make it easy for folks. But is there anything in specific you'd like to know about this that maybe I can kind of walk everybody through?
Well, I don't know whether this was like brought up before we got a link or something like that. How do we sign into the system?
John, do you want to get on that? Because I know you're the one who brought me into the system. I think you kind of have the keys for pulling people in, right?
Yeah, so the question was, how do people get plugged into L2?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so what you'll do, there is a form, and I will actually renew the link, and I'm sending out a batch today. So if somebody wants to do it now, but there's an online form, and you'll fill it out, and then I will send an email to our L2 account rep, and they will set you up an account with L2. There's another step afterward. You have to then take your account and get it set up to be a paid account in order to buy any of this data. Because what you're seeing now, this is just the way you look at the data and filter it for what you want, and then you purchase that batch of data and they'll export it for you, and you can import into all kinds of other systems. So then you'll have to go to L2 and get it set up to be a paid account. But step one, we'll be filling out this form that I'm about to get the link for now.
Okay. Now, will this be, obviously, we're like, you know, party officials and everything. What about individual candidates? Will they be able to get the similar links during the campaign?
So currently, the way that the system is set up is LP Texas pays a rate, or we pay like a retainer, I guess you'd say, and they give us a discounted rate and give all the counties below us a discounted rate. If you get into L2, there's a couple ways you can do this. One, you can just buy the data for the candidate as kind of, you know, your contribution to the campaign. But two, you can add other logins to your county's account. And if you want to give a candidate a login to your county's account, you can do that as well.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
And when you give those additional logins, you can also set it up where they can create filters, but they can't purchase and export anything. That would be up to the county owner to do so.
Yeah. What they would probably do is create a filter, save it, and then tell you, hey, I saved this. Can you go press purchase for me and I'll make a donation or whatever it is.
Ah, okay. Got it. I understand. Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions or something they'd like to see a run through on before we call this a day?
Well, under filter 1, if you go down about 3/4 of the way, it says election results. What's that? Okay.
I guess I didn't play around a lot with this one. It looks like this one is where you can maybe narrow it down to places that the registered voter turnout in that area was higher than other places. Let's see if we get anywhere where it's 77.
You'll have
77% turn. No, we did not. 77% turnout is pretty high. Let's see what I can get with 50.
It
Also
looks like
nothing.
the percentage turnout there is based on the county.
And others percentage underneath that.
There's what?
Independents, well, underneath the row of percentages, there was
Okay.
something, yeah, right there.
Let's see. I'll go something low. It'll give me percentages so I can change it when I look at it. It's giving me
Hey-
zeros for
hey-
everything.
Hey, Jacob.
Yes.
So when you uncheck that 35%, you'll see the second column there. It tells you what the numbers currently are. It looks like the way that it's setting that up is it's based on the overall county.
Okay.
So that's the county's percentage turnout. So if you were to uncheck your county filter, you could then see where the different percentage turnouts were across the state.
That would be if you got out of county and you went down here, and we'll zoom out so we can see.
So now you can see all the different percentage turnouts.
Okay, so here we go. So say we want to find somewhere with independence, 50% turnout. Outside of San Antonio. What is this?
Oh, zoom in
This-
down there by me.
So League City, Friendswood, Lamarck, Santa Fe, even into Galveston, you have a pretty high turnout of independents there.
Is that all of my Senate district? I'm asking that because that totally looks like my Senate district. Is there a way to filter that?
Hopefully it doesn't kick me down to 0 again, but we'll see what we can do. Federal state districts, state Senate districts. What Senate district you in, Amanda?
11.
Yeah, it only took off a small sliver there, so it's mostly you.
It is mostly you. And we'll uncheck it and see, you can see what it brought back.
Yeah, it's a little island right there.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
SD4.
Go back to 11. Yeah, it just basically took up this, is this,
That's Bolivar.
there you go, Crystal Beach, Bolivar. But yeah, that's all you, Amanda.
We'll get them.
You have 217,646 people to contact by the next state convention. Good luck. Gets to walking.
If only I had a Senate district buddy.
You should ask for virtual Senate district buddies.
Did you want to show the phone number and email address filtering as well?
Hold on just a second. Let me. So I'll pull out a little bit more. All of these people that you see, if you were to click on one of them, which I will not do, it will bring up a telephone number for that person. When I checked mine for my personal one earlier, it did come up with my correct phone number. Oh, well, I'm sorry, this is everybody. Let me click yes.
I can confirm that they're not always correct. My wife's came up as one of her old numbers.
I've had my same phone number for 20 years, so if they can't figure me out by now, I don't know what to do. But 8 million people in the state of Texas, they have phone numbers for. What was the other one? The other thing that you wanted me to look at, Nathan?
Email.
While you're getting there, the other important thing on that telephone filter is you can not only just filter if they have a telephone, but if they have a cell phone, which will allow you to run text campaigns if you want to do that.
Peer-to-peer text campaigns. No auto
So they had
dialers.
that. The cell phone numbers exist here. And they've got almost 6.5, a little over 6.5 million cell phone numbers in this as well in the state of Texas. Nathan, do you know where emails is? Media targeting, maybe?
I
don't
don't.
see emails on here. Telephones, lifestyle.
Or is email something that's automatically included?
Go find me again.
Yeah, because when you go to export it, there's an option for a mailing list. So I'm assuming it has emails in there somewhere. Unless that means a postal mailing list.
So here's me. Roll past. So yeah, you've got my phone number, male, married, not likely to have children. I've got 2. Man, I wish my house was that worth that much. I am the homeowner. There are 2 people here. It's a mixed gender household. I am in 17 and 10. So most of this data is right. There's a couple of things that are off on it, but hold on. I didn't see anything about email in here. So when you're printing it, it might just come up as the actual mailing address and not the email address. It'd be something that had to be pulled once you tried downloading the data, because I don't see anything on here that says. So anybody else got anything they'd like to look at before we call this a day? All right, I'm going to stop the share on this then. I would like to thank everybody for being here. Okay, my camera's off, so you won't see me staring at my phone. I'm gonna give you all the next date. The next date that we will be doing this. Let's see, I sent it to. Okay, our next one will be Sunday, November 19th. 3 o'clock. Today was a little bit later just because I had a birthday party I had to go to for my nephew, but 3 o'clock Sundays once a month is usually when we like to do this. I'm going to build off of this one in the next meeting. So our next training call is going to be on what you can do as a county chair to help support candidates, find candidates in your area. We're going to have a guest speaker for that one. I wanted to bring in somebody who is on an XCOM where they've had candidates and somebody who ran as a candidate. And the reason I did that was because I felt that as the XCOM, he can give you better ideas on how to help. And as a candidate, he can give you ideas on, while he was a candidate, what helped from a county party. That way you'll get both sides of it and kind of understand.
Oh, that sounds very good.
To do to help. I'm sorry?
Oh, one thing immediately, that's excellent about candidacy, but in the immediate, as your candidate coordinator, we are getting very few applications to be candidates for 2024, and we only have about 6 weeks until the 6 or 7 weeks until the filing deadline. So if you know of anybody in your counties or any of you that want to do it, and if you know of any attorneys who want to run for Supreme Court or Court of Criminal Appeals, that would be helpful as well. But we do have a really low number of applicants. I was doing this before in 2018 and 2020 and 2022, and it was way more applicants.
Ed, I would like to get with you. Something I've seen a lot of states start doing that might be interesting that I know we haven't